Hey everybody, this is Sanji, and I wanted to talk about leader. For those of you who follow my page, Thoughts of an Evangelist, on Facebook, every once in a while I'll post a leader. And so let me tell you briefly what leader is. I went to a conference um, some years ago. It was a dance conference, and we had a session, and the session was called Leader. That's what I said when I heard it. What? Leader. Um, so leader five to the, I said it should have been called leader to the fifth power. But anyway, I listened to what she had to say, and it was wonderful. And it was so good that I can tell you that it has been well over 5 years. It's probably been about 6 or 7 years. And it never left me. And so I have, at times I'll post leader, and it's talking about Moses and the delegation of leadership and how leadership should be structured in the church. And we have gotten so far away. It's first of all, it's hard to lead any group of people because we all have thoughts. We have our own thoughts. We have our own opinions based on how we were raised, where we came from, what churches we came from. A lot of us are in churches that are a melting pot: Presbyterian, Lutheran, Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal, Missionary Baptist, Primitive Baptist. So there are other, and we all come together and we all try to coexist and worship God, still holding on to our traditions that we were raised up under. And what God tries to do is, as we grow, He tries to break us free from those traditions and those religious situations that are not of Him. There's a lot of things that we say and do and believe that are not biblical. They are religious, and they are religiously founded by men to structure their organizations. Now, I'm not against all of it. Whatever your house does, whatever your set man or woman of God does, you're to follow that. Period. Ladies wear long skirts and they wear doilies on their heads. You have to dress up every Sunday and every Wednesday, or whenever you have service, you have to be dressy. Or you can dress down and you can wear blue jeans with holes in your pants and sweatpants and gym shoes. None of that matters when it comes to serving God, being filled with the Holy Ghost, receiving from God. None of that has anything to do with that. This is all man-made. But if this is your house, if this is how your house is structured, then you're to follow that, because you are to be obedient to the leader. I love where I am and I love where I've been. And I won't go into that because I'm trying to keep this short. But it goes to the leader, and I'll say no, Moses. So I don't keep saying leader 5 times. So when you have a Moses, Moses had to delegate. Moses had Aaron. God gave Moses Aaron. And then he told Moses to raise up 70 men that would help him with the children of Israel, because the vision had become so large. It had become too big for one man and one assistant. It was too big. Moses was doing all of the work. He was handling every situation that came up, from the big to the small. And so as it grew, Moses had less and less time to spend with the Lord. because every time he would try to spend time with the Lord, he had to run and handle a situation. Aaron was his helper and his assistant or armor bearer or whatever you want to call it. But Aaron was not as prepared as Moses was. And Moses was not, I mean, we are all human. And so Moses needed help, and Aaron wasn't enough. So God told him to delegate 70 men. And so there you have a structure that has been developed. And when we take that and we put it into the church, because this was the congregation, Moses had his congregation. The church has its congregation. Same thing. So when you have structure, then Moses was able to delegate, and each leader was able to help. You had some of the 70, they were over large groups, and you had some that were over small groups. And so everybody had their place. And then you followed chain of command. So if there was an issue, you had to go to. If I had an issue and I was an elder, I'm using it concerning the church so you will know what I'm saying. If I'm an elder, then if I have a situation, I can go to Moses, the pastor, and the pastor can go to God. If I am an usher, then I need to get with the deacon or the elder, and then the deacon or the elder can get with Moses, the leader, and then the leader can go to God. What that did was it freed up Moses to spend more time with God. Today, we have so many leaders that are multitasking, handling everything, micromanaging. Micromanagement is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing. And when it throws you off task, it's not a good thing. If you are supposed to be spending time with God and you are getting all of these phone calls as the leader to run to the hospital when you have other things to do, and you know that you can delegate somebody else to run to the hospital, it's not doing you any good, because you're supposed to be studying, you're supposed to be spending time with God, but you got to run to the hospital, because if you don't run to the hospital and see Sister So-and-so, when she get better, she gonna leave the church. She gonna be upset. And Sister So-and-so got 6 people in the church that love her and follow her, and so if she gets upset and leave, 9 times out of 10, them other 6 people gonna get upset and they gonna leave too. And that's not how it's supposed to go. So, leader is to talk about the process of how it should go. If I have a problem, I'm a layperson. I should be up under somebody. And so, if I'm in the choir and I have a problem, then I need to take my situation to my choir leader. And my choir leader needs to take it to whoever her leader is. And so if that's an elder, if the elder is over the music ministry, then you take it to the elder, and then the elder takes it to the pastor. If the elder can't handle it, if the elder can handle it and it does not need to go to the pastor, then let him handle it. And for safety measures, so that people don't complain, at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter, there should be reports. Write down, Sister So-and-so had this situation, and I told her blah, 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 and this is what happened. And so then at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter, you sit with the pastor and you give him the report and let him go over the report. And if he sees discrepancies in the report, then he can deal with it. But if not, it's a situation that he never even had to deal with, because he has set people in order. Now, when you put people in leadership positions, this is why you have to be careful. when you are dealing with people. When you put people in leadership positions, you have to make sure that they have your heart as the leader. And when they have your heart, then you know that they are going to deal with the situation according to how you would deal with the situation. And if they don't, so let's go further. If Sister So and so has a problem and she has gone to her praise and worship leader and said, I have a problem, this is the problem. Um, the leader says, okay, let me take it to the elder and let's see how we can handle this. She goes to the elder. It does not get resolved. The person is not happy. So then the leader goes back to the elder and says she's not happy with that result. Then there should be a meeting, or there could be. If that was not enough to settle the issue, then the elder should be able to go to the pastor and say, this is the situation that we have, and it has not been resolved. This is how we tried to resolve it, and it was not good enough. And then the pastor can say, why was it not good enough? Was it not good enough because that's not what the person wanted to hear? Or was it not good enough because the situation just was too big for you guys to deal with? That's when you can make a meeting with the pastor, and then, you understand what I'm saying? So, and there are ways. Everybody has a different way of doing things. But it is never I'm not going to say never, because when you're first building as a leader, you have to deal with it if you don't have anybody in place. But the ultimate goal as a leader is to be able to raise up people and to delegate the authority to them to be able to handle situations so that you don't have to. This is why I love my pastor, because my pastor has delegated. We have leaders, we have elders, we have deacons. The elders are over, and we have associate ministers. So the elders may be over the music ministry as a whole. So there's drama, music, dance, blah, blah, blah. And so anything that happens within the music ministry will go to that elder, and the elder will handle it. Or if my pastor has raised up, this is wonderful to me because I've seen it go quite the opposite way. But when you are a pastor, especially over a large congregation, you at times feel like you have to handle all of the services. You feel like you have to be everywhere in order to make the people happy. And that doesn't do anything but put pressure on you. And it takes you away from your family. My pastor is very family oriented. He loves what he does in the community. And so we have ministers. We understand that when football season comes along, pastor he ministers with the sports teams at the college, Alabama A&M University. He's the basketball. What is the word? He's the pastor. Because the word won't come to me, but he prays with them. He ministers to them. He spends time with them. He goes to the games, and he mentors them. And so he does it during football season. He does it during basketball season. He does it for football, for men's basketball, and for women's basketball. And he has made a real impact with those men and those women. So when he goes out, we know that somebody's going to have to preach on Sunday or on Wednesday. Somebody's going to have to cover intercessory prayer. If we have an event, like we just had a Vesper or Young Guns time for the young ministers, where they had the opportunity to share. Now, in some churches, if the pastor couldn't be there, it wouldn't have happened until the pastor could have freed up time to be there. But he couldn't be there. But what he did was he had The associate ministers run it because it's not about him. The church is not about one person. The church is collectively about everybody that's in there because the church belongs to God. And God's design is that we come in and be built up so that we can grow up and go out and raise up other people to come in. Our goal is our destination is heaven. You know, we do what we do so that we can get back to heaven. This is not our home. Heaven is our home. And so we are sojourners here. And we are only here to come and take back what belongs to us from the enemy, what belongs to God from the enemy. And so we can't build tents. We can't become overly content. We can't get caught up in this world in the way that they do things, because the way that they do things is not the way that we're supposed to do things. The way that leadership is handled on your job is not the way that leadership is handled in the church. That's not how it's supposed to be. The church is about holiness. It is about God, and God has delegated authority. And so, you know, you might be able to run rings around your job. That's not what you're supposed to do at the church. So if you're at your church and you're in a leadership position and you're running rings around people because you have the money or you have the authority or you have the power to do so, you think, you got to stop that, because you're going to get in trouble with God. You got to stop that, because that is not how delegated authority is supposed to go. If you can run rings around your leader, you need to leave, because you're hindering the church and you're hindering yourself. I'm sorry. Because you're supposed to be following the vision. You're not the visionary. God is not going to share 1 ounce of the vision with you, because you are not the set leader. You are not the Moses. You are not the leader. Moses is the leader. And so whether you like Moses or not, or whether you came to be used and you think that your ideas are better than Moses, it's not. You can't. The servant is not greater than the master. You can't do that. God won't allow it. You can come in with great ideas, and your great ideas are only great in your lane. If you are great at music and they have raised you up as the music leader, your greatness or your goodness is only good in the music ministry. If you get over there in the ushers department and you start trying to tell them what to do, you out of order. As a leader, you're out of order. You are only anointed for what God has raised you up to do. And so I'm going to make another video, because this video went totally opposite of what I came on here to do. But I'm going to leave it because obviously, I don't know. But guys, it's very important to me. I feel like that God has given me a heart for pastors and leaders. And I have said it on my blog before. I will fight you tooth and nail over a leader, over a 5-fold ministry leader. I don't care what comes out about them. I don't care what is said. I don't care how mad it makes you. Keep your mouth. Be careful. And as a leader, if something happens and you are under that leader, keep your mouth and defend them tooth and nail until God tells you to leave. When he say leave, and even when you leave, shut your mouth. If you know that you know that you know that that is a man or woman of God, no matter what they have gone through, no matter what they are going through, it can hurt you to your core. And you can have issues with it. I would never do that. That's horrible. They running the people away. Shut your mouth and take it to God, because you don't want to be responsible for running people away because of your thoughts, because you have now stepped over into God's business, and you have no business in God's business. I wrote a post and it said, get out of grown folks' business. We are children of the Most High God. And you know how mama used to have company, and you would go try to sit down and try to listen and sip your tea while grown folks was talking, and then mama would be like, get up and get out of here. Get out of grown folks' business. That's how God is. That's how I say God is. When God is doing stuff and that's not your lane, you in the wrong business. Get out of God's business. Get out of grown folks' business because you can't handle it. When you are in the wrong lane, when you are sitting in the living room listening to stuff that you didn't have any business hearing in the first place, and it makes you feel some type of way, or you want to do something, or your friends are chattering on the sideline and you sitting over there listening to gossip that you shouldn't be listening to, you should get up and walk away. If you don't have enough strength to tell them to be quiet and stop it, then you should just exit. Hey, y'all, I got to go. I'll see y'all later. Praise God. I had it happen to me. I was feeling some kind of way. I'm not perfect. I was feeling some kind of way. And neither are you. And I was hurt. And I was in the midst of a group of people. And I started talking because I wanted feedback on the situation. And I started talking. And one of the ladies that I respect so highly, she said, oops, I got to go. And she turned around and walked away. And I knew instantly, shut up, and so I just killed the conversation and we went into another conversation. It happens all the time. But God will tell you to shut up, But as a leader, you have authority. And I'm at 21 minutes. So I'm not going to go into, there's going to be a part 2. I'll do a part 2 to try and tie it in because I've gone too long and I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. But this is my video leader, and I want you all to be blessed, but I want you all to start praying and fasting. And when I say that, I'm talking to me. Because I need to do the same thing. Because flesh will try to overpower your spirit. And when your flesh tries to overpower your spirit, you're not as productive as a leader as you should be. And so keep praying. I believe in you, leaders. I want to encourage you, leaders, to follow your pastors. Follow the vision. If you cannot follow your pastor, if you cannot follow the vision, then you need to seek God as to, are you in the right place or not? Because you need to be in the right place. I've never been in a church in my adult life that I didn't know. I know God sent me there because I asked, Lord, I'm going over here. Send me to a rabbi. Send me somewhere. And please, y'all, if y'all don't stop church hopping as leaders, if y'all don't stop getting upset and church hopping, that's the devil and it's error, and it knocks you out of the will of God. So you need to stop that flat out. Okay, now we're at 23 minutes and I can keep on talking, so I'm gonna stop. You be blessed, and I'll see you on the part 2. God bless.